It's like something I was working towards, but for the reality to actually set in that at the beginning of January, I'm going to be going to Italy with a bunch of other U Sports players and getting to like put on the Canadian jersey and like getting to represent U Sports and like show what U Sports is made of at the best level.
Welcome to Rinkside Rundown, the podcast that puts you right in the heart of women's hockey. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and each week I'm on a mission to showcase the incredible women who are lighting up the ice across the globe. Get ready as I chat with rising stars, seasoned pros, and all the game changers making waves in the world of women's hockey that you won't find anywhere else. So, let's dive into the exciting world of women's hockey and make sure to click that subscribe button so you never miss an exciting episode. Welcome back to Rinkside Rundown, your go-to podcast for everything women's hockey. I'm your host, Chris Sinclair, and today I'm joined by Grace Beer, a goaltender with the Dalhousie Tigers. Grace, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Really excited to have you join the show, learn a little bit about you. Hear about your story, your journey from where it started to where you are now, and hopefully what's in the future. And I feel like every story should start with where it started, your origin story. So maybe if you don't mind just sharing how you got involved in hockey, how you fell in love with hockey.
Yeah, so I had a cottage growing up, so my parents didn't really like us playing the rep sports because all the competitions were on the weekend. And then growing up, my friends around me just kept talking about hockey. I'm like, Mom, Dad, like I gotta try it. I just have to. And I have older brothers and like neighbors on the road, so I'd be the goalie for road hockey. So I first session I went for hockey was I was a goalie. So that was back in 10 years ago. And yeah, ever since then, I my first session on the ice was with Christina Kessler, and I had the biggest smile on my face when I came off the ice, and just kind of started from there.
Was there ever a moment when you thought maybe you wanted to play a different position than goaltender? Or what was it, I guess, specifically about goaltending that you were immediately, I mean, I guess it was kind of forced upon you because you were
Yeah.
told you're going in net, but it stuck with you. What was it about goaltending that you enjoyed so much?
Well, the first year of like I started in December, and then play our uh, tryouts are obviously in April, so I had those few months to train. But during that time, I was like, do I want to be a goalie? Because I played soccer and I was a midfield, so like I'm a runner, I'm fast. So I was like, maybe I don't want to be, but I did player training and I just didn't have as much fun. I just like the aspect of how many things there are to know about being a goalie, but in such a small space, and like how specific each thing was. And I like taking away people's shots and not letting them score. So
Well, and it seems to have worked out very well for you. And we're going to get into how well that's been for you in just a little bit. But also, just kind of sticking with home for a moment here for as well. Growing up in Oakville, like what was that scene like for you? You kind of alluded to it with, a number of people on the block and in the community getting together and playing hockey. But what was it like growing up in Oakville with when it comes to hockey?
yeah, hockey's really big in Oakville. Like my kids around the block would be wanting to play, and then once I decided, my dad would just come out and shoot on me. Like my family's always been very involved, and took my grandparents a few to get on board with me being a goalie, but yeah, everyone was pretty supportive, and just like the amount of young girls who played hockey, it was crazy. Like there wasn't a lack of support or a lack of trying to get on the ice because it's so big.
And you mentioned it there, but I always like to hear because I think when it comes to being a fan of any sport, we only get a chance to see what is on the playing field. So in this case, obviously the ice. We only see your big saves. We only see your goalie assists. We only see those shutouts, right? We don't necessarily see behind the curtains, and one of those really important factors is family. So
Yeah.
maybe talk about what family has meant for you, especially early on, those early days, but now as you've progressed throughout your career into your collegiate career now.
Yeah, family is really big for me. Like after every game, my dad texts me, but even early on, they had my back 24/7, no matter what I was doing, they were there. But it's funny, like talking to my mom recently, like goalie parents usually are so scared, don't want to stay with people, but my parents are always with the other parents because they're like, I know when Grace goes on the ice, she's gonna give it her 100%. Like I've got nothing to worry about. But being goalie, it's definitely hard. So there's a lot of early stages where I would be very emotional and be like, am I just this bad? Like, is it gonna go anywhere? And then my parents have been great from early on. Like they're not really from hockey, so they couldn't really give me the hockey feedback, which maybe is a good thing. They just gave me like support and was there for me. But and then as I got older, my mom became a meditation practitioner. So that has been a big help in my part of the game because I really like the mental aspect and I carry the game really heavy on me. So being able to like have her techniques and all that has been really important. And then my dad's side, just like a paragraph after every game saying what the team needs to do better, what I need to do better. And also my brothers are really always there for me. Like my brother who still is at home sends me texts after every game, like watching with my parents and just always cheering me on.
And you've had the opportunity, early, especially early on in your career, to stick close to home. Speaking of home,
Yeah.
playing with the Oakville Hornets. Um, what was it like for you to be able to begin your career and be so close to home and to have that family support again, just be so close to you in those early days that, it can be really stressful, really nerve-wracking starting your hockey career.
Oakville has been was like a great environment for me, like being close and just having like my family support and even like my aunts and uncles coming to games and like the bigger games and even if we played at like Mississauga, they still could come. But yeah, it was really nice being able to be close from home because you hear of so many people who've been away since they're like grade six and really appreciate the close to home environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking specifically more about the Oakville Hornets themselves, that organization, how do you think your time with the Hornets really helped to lay the foundation for the type of goaltender you are, but also the person that you've become as well? It's really important. Those years were really important.
Yeah, no. Well, my first year I tried it for rep and my best friend today, her dad was the coach. So I've been really close with that whole family growing up my first few years. And then the other coaches I've had were amazing. And just the environment that they bring, like they're able to make it competitive and like even with the fitness testing aspect, like even though you don't like it in the moment, they get you ready for college and they just really are professional and make you feel like you're like a professional. Like even from a young age, they didn't want our parents being that involved because like we were the player, we were the one involved. We had to hold responsibility. And especially in junior Stacy, like she did a really good job with the program and I don't know, I feel like I've always been close with all the coaches, so it's really nice to like think fondly on my time with the Hornets and how they really did help me get me to where I am. And especially their like goalie world, they really look after their goalies and want to bring in who is best to be able to help you. Like they dedicate certain money to for the team to get goalie coaching and they just actually care about goalies, which is very nice to have.
And so you mentioned it there, but the relationship that you've had with your coaches throughout your career, what's it meant to you to be able to be so close with the coaches, especially because you're going to be around them a lot and taking a lot of taking in a lot of information from them. What have those relationships meant to you in terms of your play on the ice, but also off the ice?
Yeah. No, well, being goalie, you have a little bit of a different relationship with the coach, but I've always been really close with all of them, really good on and off the ice. Like ever since my first coach, he's like, you want to be able to talk to each other, you want to be able to communicate. And I've really stuck with that. Like, I don't want to be able to be afraid to go up to them. I don't want them to be afraid to come up to me. And also, I love to joke around. Like, I've been able to joke around with them the whole time, like, come do like a breakaway on me in practice. Like, I just love that type of relationship where I can be myself, they can be myself, and being goalie is stressful and like you don't need to add any more stress to that. So being able to have had those coaches who like are just lighthearted with me, know I can be serious when I like need to. And like I think it definitely helps where I give it 100% always, so they know that I'm never not gonna be giving 100%. So that definitely helps where we can be like more joking around and funny.
Spoken as though you have a good foundation of meditation practices from your mom. I like that kind of perspective that you have. So that's good. Um, when you kind of looking or progressing through your career, obviously, as I mentioned off the top, you're with the Dalhousie Tigers. I want to know what led to that decision. Like, what made you choose that program? And I think as well, staying in Canada. It's not something, a lot of athletes, the default, especially growing up is, hey, it's NCAA this, it's NCAA that, but you chose to stay in Canada. Maybe talk about that as well.
Yeah, so obviously growing up, like I started hockey a bit later, so the girls around me who were already playing were already talking about universities. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm already behind. Like it was just the committing process is so early. And then what we no one expected was COVID. So that was right during my commitment process. So that made things even more tricky. But at first, I was definitely like states all the way. Like that's the only way you can go, and that's like people really think it still is. Like I have first years coming in this year, and they're like disappointed. I'm like, just wait till like you realize like NCAA isn't the, like yes, it's a great route, but I don't think it truly is the only route. So I was deciding between like gap year and then go to the States, but then I'm like, they want to send me away to the States for my gap year, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Um, but when I had my first call with Dal, I had actually never had reached out to them, which like once I realized I didn't want to go D1 and like that probably wasn't gonna be my route, I like reached out to so many Canadian just to, like get my name out there, show them like who I am. And then yeah, the my current head coach had right now, Kiefer, he is one who reached out to me and I had my first call with him. And it just like felt different right from the start. Like I felt like that connection I've always had with my coaches, how I can be myself, I can say what I want to say, they can say what they want to say. It just felt like right. And I like called my mom right after. I'm like, I just had such a good call. Like I'm so excited. And then our head coach at the time, so 2 years ago was Troy Ryan, who is the Toronto Scepters coach. So obviously, like him and his like everything he's done, like that. I know they say don't pick for coaches, but he was definitely a big part of why I came here, and he really like made me feel like I like he wanted me. Like some of the coaches I talked to, like I didn't feel like that. Like I didn't feel like almost wanted, but he made me feel like I was like the best thing ever. So that was a really big part of why I came to Dal.
Okay, so I love that you brought up the topic around the fact that NCAA, while it absolutely, of course, it is a great route
Yeah.
to take, U Sports or CIS or various whatever U Sports
Yeah.
now is actually very much on par
Yeah.
with NCAA. For those Canadians out there that are listening, that are watching, maybe could you expand on that a little bit and talk about what the compete level is like in U Sports so that, maybe it will shed some light on the fact that it is an absolutely respectable and incredible route to take to be successful within hockey as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you watch any game in U Sports level, you'll be like, wow, like they're good. Like the skill that we have, there's obviously variations like throughout like even our AUS, which is our Atlantic side, but There's also variation in D1. Like U Sports, it really is like you're treated like professionals. Everybody trains the same amount. Everyone's worked as hard when they're younger. Everybody's just as good. Like every like it's hockey. Everybody loves hockey and they just put their heart and soul out there. And I think even though there's many players in U Sports who could have gone D1, but then you get to be like the big fish in the small pond and you get to have your moments and like this season there's not one game I went into being like, "Oh, I can take the night off." Like it's going to be an easy one. Like each game is like a battle. Like everyone is so skilled and so like equally matched. It's really has transformed to a new level for U Sports. And even now you see there's a lot of transfers coming from D1 to U Sports, which there wasn't used to be, but like within my 3 years here, there's been a lot. Like every year I'm like, oh wow, they have like three people from D1. It's like we even had one this past year. Like I think it's becoming much more common.
When you talk about that compete level, speaking specifically about you as well,
Yeah.
what's really interesting is through your 3 years now with Dal, you have progressed your stat line, and I know that's only one part of you as an athlete, but your stat line has improved over those years. Every year you're getting better. As a big part of that, or a big part of that is the program, the coaching staff. What would you say are some of those things that have helped you to become, consistently getting better and better each season? Whether it's on ice, whether it's off ice, different mentalities. What are some of those factors that have helped contribute to that?
Yeah, well, first year, you're a rookie, obviously. So I had expectations, but not too many. Like when I got to play, I was like, okay, like let me go prove myself. And then it kept coming more common. And first year, I definitely like to look at statistics, but that would get into my head. And I was like, Grace, you can look at your final statistics at the end of the season. Like it'll be what it'll be. But I definitely had my goal to be like on the all rookie team and like maybe be rookie of the year or things like that. Like I had little things to look forward to. And then after my first year, I was like, okay, like I sat down with my coach at the end of the year being like, okay, like I've had a good year on paper. What can I do to keep going? Like obviously I'm not satisfied. Like I want to keep going. Um, so in the summer I go to a gym, like a specific hockey gym, and then I'm on the ice at least 3 times a week. I really push myself in the off season because I'm just an athlete first. Like I love to be in the gym. I love to be getting stronger, and I think that's a big part of my game is how strong I am because that leads to my strength and my speed on the ice. Um, but yeah, and then being on the ice definitely like you don't get as much goalie coaching in university, but being home and being back with my goalie coach, like that's a big part for me just to bring the foundations back and then take what I did this season and okay, how can I improve it? And then going into the season, setting goals for myself. Like last year, I had make the All-Star team. And then I was like, my hard work led me to be able to do that. And then did the same thing this past summer, setting goals. Setting goals is a big thing for me. Um, and then another aspect is by my mom, like the meditation side of things, really focusing on my mental game. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve during the game, and I need to not realize I need to put the whole team on my back, which is still a constant thing for me. But yeah, that those three things have been really key for me to be able to keep getting better each year, and I'm never satisfied. Like I have more to do and more to prove next season.
Oh, I love that. It's absolutely a an athlete mindset there. And speaking of those goals, or speaking of challenging yourself and pushing yourself, you also had the opportunity to represent Canada at the FISU Winter Games. Could you like just take us through that moment and what that was like, and then maybe also what were some of the biggest takeaways for you both on the ice and off?
Yeah, so I knew about them. I didn't know much because there was only one, like my first year it happened because it happens every 2 years. Um, so my coach had texted me saying, "Can you call?" Which he does quite often, but it's always like a heart-dropping moment. I'm like, oh goodness, like what did I do? Or what is going on? And he said, I've made the long list. So there's three lists for it. There's the long list, the short list, then you're on the final team. And then I think it was the beginning of December, the goalie coach who was with us at FISU had texted me, can you call? And then that's when he told me the news. And I was like, I had never talked to him before, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. And then I was with my friends and I just hung up the phone and I was just like in shock for like probably a solid 5 minutes. It's like something I was working towards, but for the reality to actually set in that at the beginning of January, I'm going to be going to Italy with a bunch of other U Sports players and getting to like put on the Canadian jersey and like getting to represent U Sports and like show what U Sports is made of at the best level. Definitely was like surreal moment, like not a lot of words to describe it. Just to be like only three goalies in U Sports got to go and it was just really, really cool moment. And then when I got there, obviously it was a lot to take in, like a big travel there. And then we went straight from uh, the airport and when we got there to the rink and we had practice. Um, a big thing for me was the practice was only 45 minutes. So that was like a big adjustment to be able to feel like myself on the ice in such a quick amount of time. That was definitely something that took a little bit of getting used to. Um, but then obviously just being in Italy, like it's an amazing experience. And I flew down, it was my birthday when we landed. So got to celebrate with all these new girls and get to celebrate by being on the ice in the Canadian jersey for the first time. Like it's definitely an experience that I'll never forget and definitely one of my favorite memories. But yeah, just the experience is like one in a million. Like when deciding of like well, it wasn't really much a decision if I wanted to go or not. I definitely wanted to go, but it's a once in a lifetime thing, and yeah, not a lot of words to describe it except it was just unreal.
Yeah, and maybe, as an athlete, often you're always forward thinking. It's like you kind of said, right? Like you're already setting goals for yourself this summer, right? So it's always about how do I get better? How do I get better? Maybe you'll reflect and say I should have done this differently, those sorts of things. But when you have the opportunity to represent Canada, represent your country, as you've mentioned, being one of only three U Sports goaltenders there, like in those moments, do you ever look back and say, wow, it's so cool. Like I'm in this moment and I worked my tail off to get here and look at me now. Like, does that ever kind of cross your mind or is it still, okay, I'm here. Great. Move on. I got to win these games. I got to look forward.
It it like when the games I was playing, I was definitely like, okay, Grace, just another game, like nothing new. But like even just being on the bench, I'm like, holy crap, this is where I am right now. Like I'm in Italy with a bunch of girls that I just met wearing the Canadian jersey. Like it was just so cool. And our captain, Scout, she plays on UFT women's hockey. She was amazing. And before every game, she just reminded us, like, remember how hard you've worked, all the hours you've put in, all the sacrifices, everything you've done to get you to this point. Like, go prove yourself. Just go play hockey. You've prepared. You've done everything you can. And that was just a big thing that I reminded myself. It's like, I have worked so hard to get there, and all of these girls have. So it's just you're kind of like your stage to go show how much work you've put in.
When looking back on that experience, what were some of those other standout moments where it's like when now that you've had some time to like let it sink in because obviously in the moment there's so many emotions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But looking back now, what were some of those standout moments? And they don't have to necessarily just be on the ice. They can be, something as simple as just grabbing coffee with your teammates. But
Yeah.
what were some of those standout moments for you throughout that experience?
Um, for the ice, like for a hockey side of things, probably just like stepping into the rink for the first time. That was really cool seeing how big it was. And then our equipment manager, she had like set up the room for us for the next time we went there and just seeing like all the Canadian signs in there and like your name tag, where you're from. Like that was a really cool experience. Um, you just like I said, getting to be on the bench and then starting my first game, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I'm doing this. But just like every moment I was on the ice in that jersey was so cool and just like had to remind myself just to play my game. Um, Even just to be there when they're scoring, like when my team had scored, like the environment was so good that moment. Like I can remember each time they scored. Well, there was a lot of goals, but the first time they scored was definitely cool. And then off the ice, the girls were just amazing. Like the places that our coaches took us, we went to the Alps one time and it looked fake. And then we did some team bonding and it's just like I have a connection with all those girls and the coaches that it's like unbreakable now. Like we'll always have that. We'll always share that moment. Um, and then obviously just walking around, like Torino's a little town. It's not very tourist, so like we're walking around in our like Canada jackets in this little town to go get some pastries and just kind of see what's around. And everybody just stopped like looking at us and we're like we have no idea what we're doing. And then the first coffee shop we went to was interesting. Like a latte is just milk or something, and they had to reorder like 3 times to get the right coffee, but. Yeah, it was cool. And even just seeing how they live in Italy, like they take naps during the middle of the day and like they don't have dinner until 8 p.m. Like it was just really cool. A lot of cool moments.
And I love that, first of all, they have afternoon naps. That sounds fantastic. But that, as a fan, I always expect it to be like the big moments are the things that stand out the most.
Yeah.
But as you've mentioned, something as small as seeing your name on that plaque, right? Like that, it's sometimes it's just the smallest things that just like those are the things that stand out to you.
Yeah.
Um, Having the opportunity to play in this tournament, you came away with the silver medal.
Yeah.
Um, how, again, looking back on that moment, how incredible was it? I know, obviously, gold. It's always gold is the goal, but you medaled, right?
Yeah.
In your first opportunity representing Canada. What thinking about that, what does that mean to you as well? And, the path, the journey you were on to that point, and then how does that motivate you continuing forward in your career?
Yeah, like you said at first, obviously, silver's not what you're hoping for, but after I like got all my emotions out and everything, um, it was just like it's really, really special to look back on. Like I have this silver medal that showed that I got to as far as I could. Um, and just like this group of girls that I got to be with, all have the same medal and how much work all of us put in. And even though it's not what we wanted, we still medaled and we still got to go. We still got to prove ourselves. We still worked hard every single day. Like that doesn't change anything. And just like the accomplishment of again, like being chosen to go, like it's literally the little things. Like obviously goal is number one, but I got to go, I got to experience, I got to take away a silver medal from this. And it just uses like motivation to if I get to go again, then I have the motivation to get gold next time or take what I learned from that and championship feelings of getting a second place are great motivators. So it just motivated me to be better and yeah, just a reminder.
It's a perfect segue into sort of the mental side of the game. Because I think, as you've mentioned a few times here, you've talked about the fact that being a goaltender isn't easy. It's definitely takes a lot of work mentally to be able to be at your best. Fortunately enough, you have a bit of an inside track there
Yeah.
with your mom, but with goaltending being such a demanding position, maybe share a little bit as well about how you personally prepare for a game, and maybe to emphasize the point, how you used to prepare for a game, and now with the work, the meditation and those sorts of things that your mom has instilled in you, but also just experiences and how that's changed over time.
Yeah. Well, starting as a goalie, you start from fresh, so I didn't really have any superstitions, didn't really have any like pregame routines, anything like that. But even one game, like I played with a ball against the wall and I did horrible. I'm like, okay, I'm never doing that again. But obviously that's changed and I have my routine, like my ball warm up that I do now. And it's honestly was just finding things I can do to feel in control. Because when I feel in control, then I know I can be controlled in the ice. And I'm have the confidence and maturity now to realize, okay, Grace, maybe you're not feeling your best, maybe you're not in the zone, like that maybe something's off. I know what to do to be able to do that now. Like I have my set routine that I do every single day. Um, and just trying to stick to that, but also like being a student athlete, like on game days, it's not just you're not just here for hockey, like you have your school, so trying to balance that and like do my school early enough so I can honestly keep myself distracted from the game and know that it's still happening, but be able to enjoy half my day and be focused on something else. And then, okay, Grace, like time to start your pregame routine. And then just think like it's any other game. The amount of games I've played since I was 10 is crazy. So it's just another day and trying just to stay in the moment.
You had mentioned being a student athlete, and
Yeah.
I think that there's a special kind of skill set that's required for that because doing one or the other is a full-time job. And so
Yeah.
you are basically doing two full-time jobs, two that you love very much, of course, but
Yeah.
two nonetheless. What, in transitioning and going through college, how have you seen your growth in being able to balance those two things from your first year now to your third year?
Yeah, definitely big improvements. First year, you're away from home, and then we have meal hall, but wasn't great, but at least you get your food made for, so that cuts back some time. But just trying to, and especially first year classes, it's a lot of just general content, very heavy, but learning my skills of time management and even just trying to plan your day around when to go to class because you have practice in the morning and workout in the morning, like even trying to figure that out when you're going to do certain things, when you are going to have your rest time, when you are going to go to recovery or go to physio. It definitely, like, I'm still not perfect now, like in my third year, like almost at the end, like I'm still like, okay, what can I do next year? What can I do to improve on? And it's just a constant battle because I'm someone who I have a weekly planner, like literally down to the hour of what I'm gonna do. But obviously things don't go to plan and sometimes you just need rest and I like have to accept that and just realize like I need to figure out what's best for my body and I've done much better with that this year and just taking the time that I need to ensure that I can both perform well academically and athletically, which is the most important part.
And what does your, switching back to being an athlete specifically, it's sort of, I guess, kind of a similar question, but what does your in-season training look like in terms of being a goaltender? And have you seen, over the years, over the 3 years, of your collegiate career, have you seen yourself be like, "Ooh, I can't do that anymore," or like, "Ooh, I need to work on that area a little bit more than I used to"? Have you seen an evolution in terms of your training as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm obviously getting older, so my knees don't love me as much, so I need to do a lot more recovery and just focus on mobility and stuff like that. But there has been a bit of a change in how I prepare myself and get ready for things like that.
One last question before we get into a little bit more of where you're currently at, but also the future and women's hockey in general.
Yeah.
I want to know when you look back, so this is your collegiate career, your junior career, the whole thing. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face and how did you overcome them? And how did that help you to become the person you are today? Kind of a three-parter, I guess, there.
Yeah. I'd say my first challenge was when I was playing Bantam A in my first year at Bantam, and then I knew to get to the next level, I needed to be playing Bantam Double A for my next year. And Oakville already had their two goalies, so I actually moved to Mississauga for a year. and to play for Bantam AA. And it's like the greatest blessing in disguise. Like I got to play for a new program, meet more friends, and I got to play double A, which maybe is the reason why I'm here today. Like who knows if I hadn't have done that, but that was a really big decision for me, like leaving all my friends, leaving what I had known. But then I went back to Oakville the next year and then continued on. And then 2 years later came the committing process. And I think everyone in my house could agree who's my same age. Like that definitely the biggest challenge I've ever had to go through is the committing process. Like at one point I thought hockey's done for me. Like I have nowhere to go. That's just what the reality I thought was gonna be. And honestly, it was really sad and I didn't want to accept it. Like my mom was there and my family was there supporting me. Like I was like, I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. Like I can't not do sports. And they're like, well, maybe I'll just do like club, like basketball, soccer, or something like that. I'm like, no. So I stuck with it. Obviously ended up in like biggest blessing in disguise that Dow, like I never reached out to them and they reached out to me, like I had said. But I've never had any, well, knock on wood, any injury, anything bad like that. Like near the end of the season, I was getting taped up, and a superstition for me is not to have any tape on my body, but I needed it to be able to play. So I think the challenge moving forward is just gonna be like making sure my body is able to play because my heart and soul wants to keep playing hockey, and I want my body to be able to keep up with that.
Well, and as it should, because you have had an incredible career.
Mm.
You know, most notably, or maybe most recently, being named the 2024-2025 AUS Women's Hockey Most Valuable Player. Having your family there, I want to kind of bring it back to that as well. Like,
Mhm.
what does it mean to you to have received this kind of recognition, knowing the sacrifices, both financially as well as time? Because I don't know that's necessarily something that is highlighted because you don't realize how much time it takes to go to and from rinks and all
Yeah.
these things beyond just the obvious financial. But what does it mean to you to have that recognition or to receive that recognition and such an incredible award, knowing the sacrifices that others have made for you?
Yeah, it's honestly an incredible honor. Like, there's so many good girls in the AUS, and to be like not only nominated, but like to be then chosen, it's just really like honored and humbled. It's not only like a congrats to me, like congrats to my parents, congrats to my coaches, congrats to everyone who's gotten me to this point. Like you said, driving me all the time, like I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have the skill that I am without my parents, without my goalie coach Steven getting me to the next level, like without his support and everything. Like he's been truly amazing and like everything that he does for me. Like it's like every time I text my mom, she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, he's just amazing." But yeah, the support from my parents and then my coaches, like as soon as I got here, like Kiefer has been amazing. Like credits to him for this award too. He's given me confidence in myself and trust and like that trust that we have. It's not a lot of goalies get to experience it and not a lot of coaches get to experience with their goalies, but we have a really good connection and yeah, my team obviously helping me get there, but it was just a cool moment to be able to be recognized and then kind of like the FISU, but be able to reflect on how I got here and how I was able to get here and like what I can do next with it. But yeah, it was definitely a cool moment to take in.
Okay, so I am going to ask, what was running through your head, or what was that moment when you found out that you won that award? What was
Uh,
running through your head? Do you remember that moment?
yeah, my coach, I was downstairs and we're just talking with my roommates about to eat dinner, and my coach texted me again, the text, can you call? I was like, oh, yeah,
Oh,
sure. And like I knew it was coming up because last year he had called me or we had a meeting before to tell me about the All-Star. So like I had feeling that maybe I was like gonna make the All-Star team again, but did not have MVP on my radar. Um, so I went upstairs and then he called me. He's like, "How's your day going?" Like I was like, "Oh, good, just like about to have dinner." Um, he's like, I have some good news. And I said, oh, like, what's the good news? Love some good news. He said, congrats, you've been named first team All-Star. I was like, oh, phew, like, thanks. Like, would be kind of a bad look if I got it last year and then didn't get this year, like when I tried even harder. And he's like, but that's not the only good news. I was like, uh-oh. And then I was scared. And then he said, you've been named AUS Most Valuable Player. And then I was like, just kind of in shock. Like I didn't really have any words. And then he was kind of just laughing at me because I just didn't know what to say. Like I'm a very humble, quiet person. Like I don't like to talk a lot or like talk about what I do and stuff like that. But then he just went on to be like the first time in Dalhousie program history and stuff like that. Like that is when it really set in. And I was like, this not even only for me, but like for our program, like Dal's always been maybe on the lower end, but like this is just like means a lot to put our program on like the scale. Um, but yeah, it was really cool.
Nice. Yeah. And I think that's important, right? I love that point that winning these awards is great, but it also provides recognition not just for the hard work you've put in, but also the hard work that your coaching staff has put in, the
Yeah.
program has put in and invested in its
Yeah.
athletes like yourself.
Hmm.
Compare year one to year three in terms of the growth and maybe the recognition of women's hockey, like just in terms of eyeballs, in terms of fans, in terms of engagement, in terms of excitement. Maybe
Yeah.
just kind of because you're experiencing this firsthand, especially now with the PWHL and
Mhm.
that desire and passion to, you know, enjoy the women's game, but find out who's next. Who's this next generation of women's hockey? What's it been like to go through that process of seeing the growth within, especially U Sports here in Canada?
Yeah, no, it's been like in crazy growth. Like my first year PW wasn't even a thing, and now it's in its second year. Um, Even Troy like getting selected to go last year, like obviously sad to see him go, but like they're making marks for women in hockey. Like the things that like ever since he came to Dal, he was doing everything for us. Like he just wanted to grow women's hockey. And I think there's so many of those people who are now getting to come together and getting to hear their voices heard and that are making these like paths for us. And it is really amazing to see like even talk around the league be like, oh, you think like she'll declare for the draft and stuff like that, and then getting to watch and see if they go like I know there's been a few U Sports players who've gone, and it's like, oh, U Sports players, like they're not good, they're not gonna go. But like proving their odds wrong. Like they've been going, they've been successful, and even in the SDHL league, like being very successful there, and then maybe taking it back to go to the PWHL later. It's just it's really cool to have not just one pro league that one you can go to, but to keep dreaming, and especially the young girls coming in, like there's going to be more eyes on us. It's not just D1 that is going to be getting looked at, but U Sports, it's definitely one to keep your eyes out for. And like, especially even people might not know our names, and then all of a sudden we come out of nowhere. Like, it's pretty cool the waves that are going to be happening in U Sports.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it there a little bit too. How does it feel? Like you said, like when you started in your collegiate career, there was no PWHL.
Yeah.
Now there is, but at the beginning, it was as it has been for so many women before you. It was basically you would wait for the opportunity to play for the national team, and or you would go, as you mentioned, to a league like the SDHL. But now
Mhm.
that there's this opportunity with the PWHL, the opportunity as well to get paid, there's obviously still work that needs to be done there. I think that's important to highlight as well, but we are heading in a really good direction.
Yeah.
How does that feel, or what's that, does it provide you with a little bit of extra inspiration or maybe motivation to really push yourself to see, maybe the PWHL is the next step for you? And what would it look like for you to be a part of that group of youth sports athletes who make that jump to the PWHL?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a goal to put out there, like the goal settings I do, even just to get like a camp invite or even just a call with the coach. Like I know the work I've put in. I know the work that all girl hockey players put in, and that's now the end goal that we can look forward to. And I know just like keep doing what I'm doing, like not try to get ahead of myself and not try to give myself any doubts, be like, oh, there's no chance. Like there's so many other good goalies. Like just keep doing what I'm doing, honestly. And if it comes to it, then that would obviously be amazing and like an unreal experience that I would be like another FISU moment, but on another major level. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely cool for us players to look forward to and to keep working towards. Like before it was like the SDHL and the national team, like you said, that you could work towards, but to have a new goal to be able to work towards it gives me more motivation for the summer and my off ice training and to really do everything I do with 110%, like even the stuff off the ice and the little things like recovery and mobility so my body can still function if I was to make it there. But yeah,
When we're gonna
well,
manifest this. We're gonna
manifest
manifest this.
right in
Yes.
my goal book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, well, so what we're going to do now is going to shift to the final segment of today's show, and that's going to be a rapid fire question segment of the show. And as I often mention, it's only rapid fire for me because I'm going to try not to ask any follow up questions, but I never make that promise. Are you ready to take the test?
Yes, I think so.
Perfect. Favorite pregame meal?
I'm weird. I don't really eat a lot, so I just have protein pancakes that I make myself.
Oh, anything? Sorry, I already lied and asked a follow-up question. Anything that you put into it beyond is there like
Uh,
berries or anything like that?
no, 4 eggs, 2 scoops of cottage cheese, two scoops of oats, blend it up, put it on the pan, makes 4 pancakes, and I'm good to go for the game.
Oh wow, okay, okay. Um, Before a game,
Yeah.
what's your go-to pump-up song?
Definitely Lose Yourself by Eminem, like the slow build up and then
Mm,
just like sitting in my stall gets me going.
okay, that's fair. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of music, who owns the dressing room music?
We used to have a consistent girl for 2 years, but this year it honestly switches, like depending on what the team's mood is. We're kind of mean and aggressive, so if we're not feeling it, we say, okay, next. But yeah, we've got a few good playlists that we've got.
Is there a song that's on there that is like on everyone's once it's played, everyone's like, "Oh, I needed this song." Is there that go-to song for everyone?
There's a few. It honestly switches throughout the year.
Love that it's now rotating through different people that it's no longer just one person is held responsible for because I feel
No.
like that would be a lot of pressure
Yeah,
to be
that's
responsible for such a
no
thing.
nobody wants to do it. That's why they're like,
No.
oh, okay, you do it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, for those out there who haven't had the opportunity to either watch you play live or watch those incredible highlights of your games, how would you describe your style of play?
I would say I have a calm presence. I'm definitely aggressive and I'm speedy and definitely butterfly dominant. I love to be in the butterfly. I love to be owning the ice and working my way up. And a really
Wonderful.
wide butterfly, if you can
Yeah.
notice that.
No wonder the your knees aren't big fans of
Yeah.
you. Um, what's something that remains on your bucket list?
Well, for hockey, obviously play professionally at some point, but I really want to do a high rocks competition, like the fitness competition. I really want to try that.
Kind of reflecting on the dressing room, what teammates or which ones make you laugh the most?
I gotta say my goalie partners, they're always making me laugh because sometimes we're getting peppered in practice. But also my roommate, Duffy, she's one of a kind. Yeah, if you know her, you know her, but yeah, she's
Good.
fun.
I love that. What's some of the best advice you've received?
One I've gotten a lot and it kind of got reinforced was from one of our coaches, Stacy at FISU. She's the Carlton coach. And the whole time she just kept saying, be where your feet are. And I can use that anywhere on the ice, in the exam, which maybe I didn't study too much for, but yeah, I've been using that a lot. And my mom, I just like remember like you get that moment where you've heard it before, but recently that's been a big one.
Oh, I love that. And it's so wild because that's exact phrase comes up so often. And I think it's very true, especially as an athlete, it's important to be where your feet are. But it's
Yeah,
just such a punchy, such a simple kind of motto to live by. I love that. That's a great one. And like you said, it can cover you wherever you are, whatever you're doing. So it's great. It's not just one dimensional.
no,
Last question for you, as long as I don't ask any follow-up questions, is what's something that people may not know about you?
maybe two things. One thing, I have the same smoothie every day for breakfast, every single day, during the season and in the summer. And then I also have a 3-year-old nephew, so I'm already an aunt.
Oh, okay. I'm really trying not. I have to ask, what's in the smoothie?
Um, I don't measure it, but four mixed berries, like a blend of all the berries, some orange juice, vanilla, lactose-free yogurt, and a scoop of protein powder. Doesn't sound very good, but it's very good with some granola topped off.
I mean, it must be. You've had it every day. So,
Yeah.
and what's your nephew's name?
Miles. Yeah.
Miles. I love that. And I want to say, Grace, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join the show, share your story, learn a little bit more about you. This is incredible, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining the show today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Loved it. Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow hockey fans. It really helps us grow and bring you more incredible stories from around the world of women's hockey. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on Rinkside Rundown. Cheers.